something we can just fill her in real quick since Rob has.
Good.
I think that's a good play. Does someone want to make a motion to call the meeting in order?
Come on, Ed, but make a motion.
Make a motion to call tonight's meeting to order, Park and Rec.
I'll second.
Excellent, excellent. Shall we do the Pledge of Allegiance?
Sure.
All right, stand up here. All right. Oh,
They can't see me.
I can't see me either. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Excuse me. I'm just going to run and grab some water. I'll be right back.
No worries, no worries. Okay, so let's see. Mary, is there any public comment or correspondence?
We do not have any formal correspondence, and nor do we have anybody who has asked us to for public comment, so I think we're good.
Okay, okay. Minutes from the previous meeting. I reviewed them, but I wasn't in attendance, so I can't weigh in on them.
We're up to minutes now.
Yep.
Yes.
I didn't see anything that jumped out, Brian, at me. So how's everybody else?
I agree.
I make a motion to accept the minutes as they are.
I second.
We wait for Rob to get back to his seat, or?
Oh, I didn't know he left either. I'm sorry.
He usually has comments. All right, Rob, you're on.
Are you good for the meeting minutes, the unapproved?
For July.
I wasn't at the meeting, so I can't vote.
Oh, okay. Yep, I
Why
see
I
it.
chose to get some water.
Gotcha. Okay. So I think everyone's in approval.
Yep.
All right.
Amy tried to get it. He didn't get it though. He didn't try.
Director's report.
All right, so I'll just give you a little bit of a snippet about a few different things that have been going on over the past few weeks. The beach is going well. We ended up adding on 4 additional weekday afternoon reservation slots for season pass holders. So Tuesday and Thursday of this week, and then next week from 3:30 until 6. In order to meet our staffing needs for the end of the season, we hired 4 additional lifeguards back in early August, all of whom are high school students. The last day of the season for the town beach is Labor Day, and reservations continue to be at capacity on the weekends. Our last day of camp was on Friday, August 21st. The last concert of the season is this Friday, the 28th, from 6:30 to 8, featuring Dan's Garage. A little bit about the August 4th storm that blew through Brookfield. Thank goodness we had much less damage to the parks than we saw during the macroburst in 2018, but we did still sustain some damage, mostly fence damage at Cadigan Park, the softball backstop, the main gate to the fields, and the tennis court fencing. We actually had a large tree fall on the tennis courts at Cadigan, which has been removed, and we still need to repair the fence, but it's safe for use. We also had an additional tree on one of the back fences at Center School, ironically in almost the exact same location where we had a tree fall during the macroburst in 2018. So that section of fencing is going to be repaired again. And we also had the fencing near the Parks Department had someone damaged, and we had some trees down on the Williams Park trails, especially, which parks have cleared. So August 4th storm again, kept us busy, kind of diverted some of our attention away from normal tasks and onto that storm response that we've grown accustomed to doing. But the parks came through as they always do. We also took over the lawn maintenance of the Old South Cemetery, which is the cemetery up on Sunset Hill Road. And over the last couple of weeks, the Parks Department got in, did some debris cleanup, and mowed and/or weed walked the grass, and it's looking much better now. And we hired recently 2 additional seasonal grounds positions to help us when we continue to be down that 1 full-time employee that we've been down since the end of October of last year. One of the employees began work with us on Monday. He actually came to us from New Milford in much the same role. We stole him away for a little while. And the other employee begins work on Monday, August 31st. And both of them are going to remain with us through at least the end of October. And that's just a little bit of a taste about what's been going on in Parks and Rec over the last month or so.
Mary, I have a quick question. Who used to maintain that cemetery near the golf course before you just took it over?
Thank you. So I hope I'm not misspeaking. My understanding is that it was really, I had oversight from the Historical Society, and they had hired a contractor. I believe that they had some money in their budget from the town specific to ongoing maintenance, and then it made some sense for the town to take that over.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions about director's report? Okay with everybody if I go ahead to old business?
Sounds good. Did we lose Brian?
I feel like we
I'm
did.
still here. No, I'm still here.
Okay.
I'm still here. Yes,
I'm
that's
looking
me.
at that beautiful picture of you. Okay, yeah, go ahead, Mary.
All right, thank you. I'm just trying to keep things moving for folks that have to get off early. So, for the department COVID response and facility reopening, now we're continuing to work with the youth sports groups in town, helping educate them and making sure they have the guidance that they need to follow the DECD sector rules. Most recently with Brookfield for Youth Football, I know that they're following the CIAC guidelines for their return to play. We'll also be working with them if they do get the green light under those guidelines to make sure that they're fulfilling all of the sector requirements that we have and that we've been operating under here since the spring. Right now, today's a big day in terms of the CIAC. We are expecting to get some guidance later tonight on scholastic sports, including football and volleyball. And we do expect for those CIAC decisions to have a ripple effect on our youth sports in town. Right now, there's been some discrepancy or some misalignment between CIAC and sector rule guidance, and not necessarily tonight, but within the next couple of days when CIAC has their final decisions in place for the fall season, we do expect that that the sector rules will become more closely aligned with that guidance. And so we are going to be watching for any changes over the next few days with that. And then in terms of facilities at this time, right now, all of our facilities, with the exception of basketball courts, remain open. The basketball courts have never opened, and I don't believe the town has any plans to do that in the near future.
What's the status of the Greenway? Like mask, no biking still? Is that still what it is?
Yeah, so how the Greenway is signed has been the same since its reopening. It's no bikes, no wheels, basically. Masks are required, no running, and to keep a 6-foot social distance.
Is there any plans to update that at all, or?
So I've not had any discussions with anybody in town administration or with the health department in terms of looking at that again. I did reach out to the Connecticut Trail Census to see if they had any updated numbers for July use, so I could bring those to the discussion today. I did not hear back from them, and I don't know if that means that they don't have the numbers yet, or if somebody was just out of the office. But I don't have any new information for us in terms of usage in order for us to use that as part of the discussion.
Okay. All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Mary, do you want to continue with beach boat and tennis fees?
Absolutely. At the last meeting, we discussed about keeping all the fees the same, which has served us well. The last couple of weeks we have, it has been a little difficult. We do have some folks in town who have been interested in going to the beach, and that we're only selling season passes and that we're not open for very much longer. People have had to make some decisions if they're going to get their money's worth, so to speak, if they wanted to purchase a season pass for the $105 or not. So people have been, very understanding of the reasons why we've chosen to keep season pass only. But that has been something that, as the time ticks and we have fewer and fewer days of the season, is a little bit harder to deliver as a message to people, because you hate to disappoint people who just want to go for the day. For boat and tennis passes, we do have more season left on both of those items. The boating season does usually go through the end of October, and the tennis season does usually go through the end of October as well. And we have had questions asked by residents on both of those items if we're going to be considering any kind of a price reduction at any point in time for the season on either one of those passes. So I just wanted to bring that up to the commission again for consideration if we wanted to think about, having a date even, September 15th, when there's going to be another 6 weeks left of the season, if we wanted to consider doing any kind of a reduction in fees for those passes, or if we just want to remain having everything full price for the remainder of the seasons.
One thing you could do is like what they do with like a lot of ski mountains. They could buy next year's pass, but they get to use the end of the year, the last month, but then carries over to next year. They pay for the full year, but they're getting next year, and they just got that last month for free. That's what a lot of ski mountains do for the last month of the season, something like that.
That's a great idea. If you're not raising prices, that's great. A lot of places do that when they're going to raise the price the next year. They go sign up now. You get the price if you sign up now. If you wait till the spring, it raises. What we do, as far as now, of course, we do allow people to pay daily and a season pass, but we always, and not just this year, around July 15th, we reduced the season pass by 30%. And then August 1st, we reduce it to 50%. We just do that every year. So, but it's weird when they don't even have a daily option,
So some things that we can consider, so we have 3 different passes. So one for the beach right now, without looking at the schedule, I want to say we might have eight or so more days of potential use. We are limiting the amount of times that somebody can use the beach, even if they purchase a season pass. So let's just call it people can go maybe 4 times for the remainder of the season, assuming their schedules allow. So that would be, one consideration. Or we could, consider making some special exceptions if people haven't purchased their season pass and they want to go once. Do we make an exception and allow that at the very end of the season, the tail end of the season for people? So I would love to have some guidance as to any ideas to manage that. Tom, I love your idea, and I've done the same thing for my family with Quasi Amusement Park, over the years. If we're definitely going to need to look at the season pass fee structure again across the board for next year with the increase of minimum wage. And so I would be hesitant to put a number out there today, because I don't know if I could stand by it next spring. But I love the concept of that. If we could maybe put in something with that we might need to make up a price difference increase or something like that next season. I don't think people would really appreciate if we did that, though. So I'm more inclined to either kind of just leave things for the beach as they are, or to perhaps offer the ability for people who call and ask to purchase that one-day pass. We'll have all the information. We can get them, as long as we can confirm their residency, maybe for the rest of the season, we kind of get a little bit more lenient with that. I would think that might be reasonable too.
So you just charge them the per day fee for if they reserve one of the last 4 days that they can reserve. Right?
Correct. It would be basically the last, I think we have eight more days in total, but if somebody wants to go to the beach once, we'll, let them pay the daily gate fee to us and then put them on the reservation list for the day.
I counted the days we're open, and we're open the same days. So there's 12 days left.
Oh,
But,
thanks,
you
Rob.
still only let them reserve twice a week, right? So still.
Correct. Yeah.
So I
Yep.
think I'm okay with just letting them pay the daily fee for the last 2 weeks if they want a day. Anybody else?
That's fine.
Mary, can I ask you a question?
Of course.
Has anyone recently asked you for a day pass and you've turned them down? So they may just get upset that they couldn't do it and had to buy a season, but someone else a week later can?
That's an excellent point, Sue. I don't think, and I can look up. I'm not sure how quickly, but it's been a little while, probably a couple of weeks. We were very, upfront with people that the commission had, made a decision back at the end of July that we were going to continue offering season passes, and oh, sorry, Liz just stepped into my office saying that she has an answer for that. So hold on one moment, please.
Thank you.
I've had 3 or 4 people in the last 2 weeks call.
Okay, thank you. So Liz's experience has been she's had 3 or 4 people call in the last few weeks to buy day passes, and when they've been told that they have to purchase a season pass, they've opted not to. I think it has been at least a couple of weeks since we've sold a season pass.
Okay.
Well, you can always alert those 3 or 4 people if you have their names that for the last 2 weeks, we're letting you do it. If you want to do it, just give us a ring,
Yeah, we could also really leave it kind of, I don't want to say loose in a bad way, but, if somebody calls and inquire, we say, sure, we can offer you a season, a daily pass, but we don't necessarily have to push that information out and have it on every website and have it, all over. We could kind of have it like on request.
That's a good idea.
Okay, so if folks are in agreement with that, then we'll leave it that should a Brookfield resident inquire about the ability to go to the beach for the day, we will let them know that that we revisited usage at our meeting tonight, and that we're in agreement that if they would like to purchase a daily pass for a day during the remainder of the season, that they can do so as long as we have residency, and we'll take it from there. Good?
Good.
Okay.
Yes.
Quick question, Mary, about the boat pass. Out of curiosity, how many passes for like car tops, for like kayaks do we sell a season?
Yeah, well, I have to say that we've been selling more than usual this year for both trailered and for car top. And I'm glad that you can't see what I'm doing, because I'm actually looking right now, Tom. I can tell you the exact number that we've sold right now. We've sold 25 car top passes this year, which is a lot more than typical.
Right. I mean, I kayak all the time, but it's very busy this year, of course. I'm just curious if how many people do, because you can go in Danbury and Latin's Cove for free, or you go to Lake Winona for free. I just wondering how many people would pay to use to go. Okay.
First of all, they just blocked off the Danbury ones. Danbury just changed their rules yesterday.
Oh, did they?
The boat at the near the PAL building is blocked off.
Oh, but this is a state. This is a state one at Latin's Cove.
That is blocked off too. As of this morning, I drove by it because I don't know if they put cement ballards, because he declared that there were a lot of new infections that were occurring, and he thought they had to do with boat parties.
Okay.
And he did that. I didn't know. I was surprised. I heard that, but I was more surprised that the state boat ramp was blocked off. But he could have just said, I'm sorry, it's in Danbury. I'm blocking it off.
They might not have been right.
It's harder to block off the one at Little Anona Bridge there. I'm sure that's open.
Yeah, that's still open. Yeah.
Plus, no part of the lake there is Danbury.
Right. Oh, Lake Lenona is all open. Yep. I mean, it's a lot less crowded, Lake Lenona, than Candlewood. Okay, that's fine. Thank you.
Okay, so we have the beach pass resolved, and then we have boat and we have tennis. To kind of get back to really quickly. So again, we can keep boat and tennis passes the same, or we can consider a reduction of some sort for people for the last 6 weeks of the season. Again, I do like Tom's idea. We do expect for things to go up for next year, so I'm hesitant to kind of proceed in that direction right now. But people are used to getting some kind of a discount towards the end of the season. We have been asked by residents over the last week or so, especially if we're going to consider that. Maybe delaying the typical discounting process is a reasonable step, and maybe instead of us doing it in August or even September 1st, maybe saying after September 15th, when there really is only about 6 more weeks of the season, that might be a logical place. But I'm certainly open to other people's opinions and discussion on the matter.
Mary, what kind of a discount would you consider?
So typically, Cassie, for forever, we've gone 50% after a certain point in the season.
I think that would be fair. I do. Especially if you want to go till September 15th and do it then.
What number do you normally do the 50% discount in a normal year?
But even if you
So
want to do it in Labor Day,
I would say Labor Day.
Yeah.
So after Labor Day, so after like the official summer season has passed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that sounds really reasonable.
At Labor Day.
Okay, so then since Labor Day is Labor Day actually falls a little bit late this year, so that's Monday, September 7th. So we'll say when we open for business on Tuesday, September 8th, we'll do 50% discounts on tennis and boat passes at that time.
Yeah.
I like it. Thank you.
Welcome. Okay, move to new business.
I'm good with new business.
All right, facility reservations after September 1st.
Okay, so at the last meeting, we did talk a little bit about facility reservations, and we had decided that at least through September 1st, that the commission would continue to not entertain any reservations for the lakeside room at the beach, for the bandstand or the pavilion. We did do that really small carve out for things like very brief outdoor wedding ceremonies with no sitting and limitations on time and attendance. But aside from that, people were pretty comfortable with us not allowing reservations at those facilities, at least through the end of August. And now for September 1st, we need to decide if we're going to keep with that policy or if we want to discuss making any changes to that going forward. Our reservations typically do end around Columbus Day weekend, so we have about 6 more weeks of the season. We do continue to get requests from people who would like to have reservations for family parties and functions and things. But again, my comfort level remains, not because I'm scared of the work, but my comfort level remains that the town would continue to not permit reservations because we can't control people's use of the facilities while they're there. And I do just think it's a little bit more of a liability for the town to consider at this point in time.
Mary, I fully support that.
Yeah, I think having 25 to 50 people underneath the pavilion at Cadigan is just asking for trouble.
Absolutely.
Or 20 people in the indoor thing at the beach is asking for trouble.
Yeah. Why take on that risk?
not worth it. It's not worth it.
So at this point in time, we would just let people know that we're not going to be accepting any reservations for the remainder of the 2020 season, and that we will certainly reevaluate, over the winter in anticipation of our spring season, which usually begins sometime in the middle of April. So by our March meeting, we should have enough data and understanding of what's happening in the world over the winter and what we think is reasonable going forward for the spring. So we'll plan to revisit this again for 2021 in March, if that's agreeable.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Mary, I did
Yes.
want to comment that I was able to attend one concert, and it was amazing how well behaved the people and how well they were separated, and there were very few children gathering on the field, just a handful. I was very impressed. I doubt the people in the city that I work for, the town, that if we did the same thing, I doubt it would look as well as it did at the Brookfield concert. That's my opinion.
Mhm. Rob, if I can add to that, I think I made it to 3. I think Friday's going to be my 4th. And it was the same at each one. Everyone was very respectful and socially distanced. And Mary and her crew did a fantastic job.
I like especially that you had some staff at the bottom of the stairs where most people walked in, just politely, do you need a mask? Just a reminder to set up 15 feet away. Or, it was very nice the way I felt walking in there. I felt very safe.
And this past week, I don't know, was it Hegarty that did it, Mary? But they had balloons up and then flags, which I believe Mary's crew does anyway. But they said you can sit, at either a flag or a balloon. So it was great visual for everybody. It helped.
That's
Yeah,
nice.
we liked the balloons too. I thought that was a really nice touch with the hand sanitizer tied on it, and that was something that the sponsor Hegarty had done, which was really a nice thing. But thank you. We're just so happy that we've been able to offer the concerts. We've gotten a lot of positive feedback from people that they're just grateful for the opportunity to go and sit outside. And I think the facility really lends itself that people who want to distance even further away, you can do that and still have an outdoor and enjoyable experience even further away from others. So it's been working out really well. We have one more. We're hoping for the weather to cooperate on Friday night. I know we might get the tail end of one of the hurricanes up our way Friday night into Saturday, but hopefully we'll be able to get the last one in and just have a really great end to the season. A couple of other quick mentions about facility reservations when we're still on the topic. I do just want to mention that for the past couple of years, the Brookfield Soccer Club has worked with an organization and has hosted a Columbus Day tournament here in town, and it's been a great thing for the town. It's allowed our town teams to participate at lower costs, and it's allowed opportunities for some of our Brookfield resident referees to get additional work, and it's been a great thing for a lot of different reasons. And right now the soccer club is still waiting for some direction from us if the Columbus Day tournament can go on for 2020. Right now, under the DECD guidelines currently, tournaments are permissible still. And it's hard to predict if tournaments are going to be changed when the guidelines change or not. But in fairness, I've not had extended conversations with our health department or anybody else. But I do just want to run this past the commission and just kind of get a feel for where people on the commission fall on this. Sometimes we have a just because you can doesn't mean you should situation, and other times, we have situations that we should allow. So soccer club tournament would bring a lot of teams throughout Connecticut. Would not have any out-of-state teams. It would be only Connecticut teams, but it would be from different areas. They would be playing against teams in our area. We would have, fans. The soccer club's done a great job at crowd control over the years, but these are things that would need to be worked through, and without talking to our health department and kind of diving in, we may be in a situation where we kind of say as a commission, we would love to host this again in 2021, assuming that things get back to normal. But under the current conditions and the fact that we're being so restrictive in our facility reservations and how we're running our own programs, that we would think that we should not entertain having or hosting this in town for 2020. And I'm just looking to see where people on the commission might fall on your opinions.
Well, I think people coming from all over the state and having no control over how well they social distance. I just had an experience in our town where we allowed some softball games to be played. And I read the written rules to all the parents that they would, if they were going to attend, which they want to, that they'd set up and be in their cohort, their groups. And I just drove right up and just to see how things were going. And all the parents weren't wearing masks. They were all like 3 feet away from each other, 20 people in a like 10 by 10 or 12 by 12 little area, 20 people about 3-4 feet apart. Not one person had a mask on. And that's in our own town. So if you get people coming from other towns, it's just, if it was like a small scale tournament, like 4 towns, the local towns, and everybody knew, but I would just be afraid of the big normal Columbus Day tournament personally.
Yeah, and to piggyback on that, if the parents have, the kids have grandparents or aunts and uncles, and they're vacationing, and they might be coming from one of the restricted states, and we don't know what they're bringing in, and they're not quarantining, and I don't think it's worth a risk for 1 year. There's many things we can't control.
I agree.
I agree.
How many teams are there, Mary, come to this soccer tournament?
That's a great question, Tom. So Brookfield is one of a handful of different locations that host the tournament. I don't have that information on the number of teams in front of me. I can probably put my fingers on it fairly quickly, but it's something that uses multiple fields in town with multiple games with multiple teams. So we're not talking about 2 or 3. We're talking about probably a dozen or more on a daily basis.
Goes all day. They go all day.
They do, yeah.
I think you're asking for trouble. Then
Great.
they'll want the concession stand open, and then everybody's going to gravitate to that, or it just doesn't make sense this year. It doesn't.
Well, you could tell them they can't have a concession stand,
Yeah,
right?
I mean, so
That's a big. Yeah.
that's just one example of if they're doing it in Reading and they're staying in town at a softball game. There's a spike in Danbury. You're going to have teams from Danbury. You'll probably have teams from New Haven. It just doesn't make sense to bring all that to Brookfield.
Great.
Well, just to let you guys know, if we're fortunate enough to have a high school cross country season, they're talking about, no more than 50 people on a start line and no more than 100 people on the grounds at any one time.
Right.
So, and that's going to be a lot more than that in a soccer tournament.
Yep.
Yeah, to your point, Ed, it would be hard for us to enforce because under the DECD sector guidelines, there are limits of the number of people that are allowed per field for players and spectators, and that would just kind of be an extra layer this year. And then, you're supposed to allow a certain amount of time between when one game is being played, allow those people to clear off before the next teams come in, which is normal. That's kind of normal operating these days. But I think it is putting an awful lot of responsibility on the volunteers of the soccer club to be making sure that people who aren't from Brookfield are following all these rules. And so I certainly support, the position, Rob's position. Sometimes if you're having people in your own town who are choosing not to follow the rules, it's even more challenging to have people from outside of your town follow those same rules. And so I'm inclined to agree with the commission that, that we would love to host the event, that this year is not a year that we feel like we can safely host the event, and that we would certainly want to speak with them again in anticipation of the 2021 season. But I do just want to make sure that you all were aware that request has come through our department, and in a normal year, it's something that we can manage very aptly internally without having to involve the commission. But under these circumstances, I think it's something that should be discussed and that everybody's in agreement, if we're going to say no, that we're all comfortable saying no, and for what reasons.
Quick question there. Is this a fund, like a money maker for Brookfield Soccer, this tournament? You don't know that, right? A lot of times.
I'm sure that they do make some money. We actually were the beneficiaries of some of the proceeds last year. They actually supported an initiative that we were doing here in town with some doing additional overseeding and then the growth blankets on the lower Batak field. So us working with soccer did ultimately benefit our department and in the town facility. But I can't speak to exactly what kind of money is or isn't made.
Good. Okay.
I think that is all that I have under facility reservations that I was hoping to get through, unless anybody has any additional items that they'd like to discuss. Okay, if I go ahead and speak a little bit about fall programs.
Absolutely.
Okay. So we're going to continue our theme of 2020, which is just basically like reinvention. So, reinvention and flexibility. Right now, what we know is that we cannot use the schools. So we can't have any kind of after-school programs, either inside the school or really outside of the school. What we're planning to do is we're planning to take advantage of a lot of our big green open spaces and parks to offer some after-school programming for people still, but we're going to be using different facilities and town facilities for that. So we're expecting to offer a variety of different outdoor activities for different age groups, likely from about 4 to 5 p.m., so that way people can get home from school, can still get to the location, and we're thinking that a lot of people are going to welcome the chance to be outside if they've been doing remote.
Oh,
You lose Mary?
we lost Mary.
You don't time out after 40 minutes, do you? Some Zooms do.
Nope, our meetings are not set to timeout. It thinks Mary's still connected though.
Maybe she hit mute.
She's not muted.
She is, okay.
Maybe Mary just got tired of us.
We got somebody else calling in. It might be her reconnecting.
Having phone trouble.
Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Our phones in the office just went out. We have to get on our cell phones, I think, which I'm sure Mary's doing right now. That happened a few times today.
Oh, boy.
It's going to be fun when the kids are trying to do this with school.
Oh, yeah.
Enter your
Good point.
participant ID followed by pound. Otherwise, just press pound to continue. You are in the meeting now. There are 12 participants in the meeting. You are muted. You can mute or unmute yourself by pressing *6.
Oh, you guys can hear me now.
Yes, we can.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. I was being all clever and trying to dial in by my cell phone. Yeah, I just had a really weird message. I'm sorry about that. So I'm not quite sure where I stopped being heard. So forgive me, I'm not trying to be really redundant, but we're reinventing, nothing in the schools. We're doing lots of things outdoors at the municipal center. We're doing classes for all different ages. We want people to be able to get back outside and get some socialization and some physical activity after they're done with their distance learning. We're going to be revamping and doing some fantastic new special events to try to keep people socially distant and still able to enjoy doing different things over the course of the fall season. We're not planning to do very much virtually initially. We're likely going to transition in that direction as the weather gets a little bit colder, but I think we're going to limit the amount of virtual programs we're going to be doing to start, and then add them as needed. We're also going to be looking for any kind of alternative programming space that we might have access to should the schools remain unavailable going into 2021. I do know the school system has made a very reasonable request that they want to get things underway and to get their program and everything started first before they're interjecting any additional stressors, into the building. But hopefully we will be able to meet with them again, and sometime in the late fall, early winter, if things continue to go well, hopefully we can go ahead and start resuming some of our in-school activities. But we are going to look to see what else we can do locally should that not be an option. And then right now, just most recently on my mind is the Halloween run. Right now, runs, 5Ks, are actually currently permissible under the DEC guidelines. You just need to run things in waves, and you can't have award ceremonies, and there are some extra precautions that you need to take. But I know there's a couple of people on the commission who are very used to organizing road races. So I'm going to be reaching out to both of you in the next few days and probably consulting with some local race directors to see if anybody has already done a 5K under these restrictions and how it's gone, and just see if it makes sense for us to continue to do the Halloween 5K for the year. You hate to ruin a good streak if you think you can still have a good positive experience and a safe experience for people, but I'm nothing but open-minded going into the decision-making process, but more to come on that one. As long as everybody on the commission is agreeable to the fact that if we can run it safely, I think we've proven that we have the ability to adapt the programs to the guidelines and with the best interest of everybody in mind. And so I would approach the Halloween run in the same manner.
We'll stay tuned on that one, Mary.
That's a yes, the dog.
And that's really all that I have on fall programs, unless anybody has some specific questions.
Well, thank you, everybody. I think, thank you, everybody, for meeting. I know we did not have or did we have a meeting schedule? We just changed. I think it's important during this pandemic, even if we spend 30 minutes or an hour once a month, to be on top of everything.
When is our next meeting?
26th of September, is that correct? I don't have it in front of me. Does that sound right?
It's
23rd, maybe?
September 23rd.
23rd, so Wednesday.
What time do you guys want to do it?
Thank you. The earlier time has been lovely, but I'm very flexible. So honestly, whatever works best for the group is agreeable to me.
I like the earlier time as well.
I do too. I can do anytime, 4:30, 5, whatever you guys like.
Would 5:30 work? And it could be earlier. I just don't know what my responsibilities are going to be with the school year, whether we even make it to October 1st. Is 5:30 okay?
I'm okay with it.
Let's do it. Let's say.
Okay.
Oh, Rob's
I gotta
on mute.
run. Thank
Sorry.
you for running an efficient meeting so I can go see my mom and, okay, thank you.
Thanks, Rob.
Works for
Hi,
me.
Mom.
Hi, Rob.
Awesome.
Okay.
Oh, are we motioning to adjourn?
You are.
I did.
All right, I'll second that.
Good job, Ed.
All right.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Bye. Take care, everyone.
Guys,
Hey,
Great
take
to
care,
see you.
everyone.
thank
Good seeing
you.
everyone.
Thanks, everybody.
Uh,